guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faye. Welcome. And if you are not new, thank you so much for coming back for another video. So for today's video, as you can see by the title, I'm bringing you guys a pumpkin spice fall inspired makeup tutorial. I knew I was going to call this a fall makeup tutorial, but as soon as I finished it, the first thing that came to my mind was pumpkin spice. So here we are, pumpkin spice fall inspired makeup tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I recreated this look that I have on my face using a bunch of new products, new to me at least, that I have not used and have not featured on my channel as of yet. I haven't really filmed a ton of makeup tutorials on my channel this year, so I definitely want to try to finish the year strong and try out all these new products that I have both purchased and received in PR for you guys on camera to let you guys know, especially with all the sales that are coming up, what's good and what's worth your coin. So before we jump into the video, if you are new, I would love for you to join the fam by subscribing down below. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps to boost and push my video out to other people that may be interested in seeing a fall inspired makeup tutorial. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this look. Alright guys, so as I mentioned in the intro, I'm back with a makeup tutorial for you guys today, and we are about to be doing a little fall slay. So I went ahead and primed my eyes. I just used my Born This Way concealer. You guys already know the drill. I always use this. This is the multi-use sculpting concealer. I have mine in the shade Sand, and I just applied that all over my lids and then set it lightly with this pressed powder right here. You can use any pressed powder that you have, but just something that, for me personally, I do have oily eyelids and things tend to crease on my eyelids, so I have found that just leaving the concealer and going straight in with eyeshadow does not work for me. So I just like to set mine down lightly with a translucent powder. And then for eyeshadow, we are going in with this cute little palette right here. This is the Too Faced Gingerbread Extra Spicy palette, and this is what it looks like on the inside. The look that I have in mind is like a very kind of orangey, goldish, like this color of the palette type, or I guess it would be easier to show you here, like this color type look with a little bit of gold on the lid. So I figured I would be able to hopefully accomplish that with this eyeshadow palette. So the first shade I'm going in with is this shade right here. This is the shade Butterscotch, and I'm really just using that as kind of my transition shade. So I'm just gonna buff and blend that all over my crease and also a little bit on the lid. And as you guys saw on the other eye, I'm just going to stamp it down first to kind of get that pigment exactly where I want it on the eye. And then once I have the color laid down, I'm going to go in and start to blend it out. Okay, so that color actually gave me exactly what I was going for, so I'm not going to add too much more to the crease, I don't think. I'm just going to go in with this shade right here. This is in the shade Ginger Glam, and I'm going to start packing that on the outer V and blending it into the lower crease right below that shade that we just applied. So next I'm going in with my flat shader brush, and I'm going to be picking up the shade Half Baked, which is this shade right here. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that all over the inner 2/3 of my eye. Okay, so that is what that shade is looking like, and that is the color all by itself, just picked up on this brush. This is the Morphe JH41 brush. I didn't apply any Fix Plus or anything, and that is what the color is looking like. Super pigmented and absolutely stunning. So I'm gonna go back in with this shade right here, the shade that we used in the outer V, Gingerbread Glam, and I'm just going to add a little bit more of that on the outer V, and I'm basically just blending it into that shimmer that we just applied. And you'll notice my technique, I'm doing a lot of patting to get the pigment of whatever color I'm using on the lid before I actually go in and start, you know, blending or swiping or anything like that. So just a little tip. Okay, so that is what the eyes are looking like so far. Last but not least, I'm going to go back in with Butterscotch, which was the first shade that we used in the crease. And I'm just going to pop the slightest bit of that right up here, just because a little bit of that color got lost with the blending. So I just want to make sure that we don't lose that pretty orange color right up along the top of that crease shade. And then I'm just kind of wiping off my brush on this towel that I have in front of me so that there's no product on the brush. And then I'm just going to lightly kind of buff and blend over that just to make sure that there aren't any harsh lines, of course. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and apply my liner and lashes off camera. I'm using my Urban Decay Perversion waterproof fine point eye pen. And then per usual, I'm going in with my Eyelure x Jordan Woods Tropic Like It's Hot lashes. So I'm just going to apply those really quick and then I'll be back to start on the face. Alright guys, so liner and lashes are on. What do we think so far? I feel like I like it, but I don't know for sure once, you know, I start putting my face makeup and everything on, because I feel like that's when everything starts to come together. So let's go ahead and start with that. The first thing that I'm going to do is prep my skin. I'm using my Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 Replenishing Primer and Setting Spray, and I'm just going to spray that all over my face. And also I did want to mention really quickly for anybody who might be interested, those strips that I had on the sides of my eyes, these are from e.l.f. I think they're called shadow strips or something like that. I'll have them linked for you guys down below if you're interested in them. They are a lifesaver, especially for me since I haven't done my makeup in a hot minute. It just makes it super easy to get those nice crisp lines when you're a little out of practice. And then I did clean up the edges with a little bit of concealer, and then I just used my DSMD sponge, which has a nice sharp edge on the corner, to really get right up against that that eyeliner and just blend out the concealer. So I'll have everything linked for you guys down below as always. So next up, I'm going in with my primers. So the first one that I'm going to use is this one from Fenty. If you watch my tutorials, you guys already know I'm about to do a little primer concoction because I do have oily skin. So I always start off with Miss Fenty, and I just apply that all over, pretty much like a moisturizer. And I'm just going to, you know, just blend it into the skin. So next up are these pores, and for that today I'm going to use my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and I'm just going to take a little bit of that. This is the original one, by the way. I do have the matte one as well, but I just grabbed the original one today, and I'm just going to apply that right on the areas where my pores are and just really press that into the skin. And then last but not least for primers, I'm going in with my Milk Hydro Grip. I heard that they actually came out with a Hydro Grip setting spray. Let me know down below if any of you guys have tried that out or are thinking about purchasing it. I know Sephora is having a sale coming up at the end of this month. So I was thinking about maybe picking it up because I love the this primer. It does such a great job of just gripping onto your foundation and keeping it in place all day long. So if the setting spray is anything like the primer, I have a feeling it's going to be a definite need. So let me know down below if any of you guys have tried out the setting spray and if I need to add it to my wish list for the Sephora VIB sale. And then last but not least for skin prep, I'm going in with my Urban Decay All Nighter, and I'm just going to use this to set all of my primers in place. I honestly swear by this powder, you guys. It has become a staple in my routine. Now, of course, if you don't have oily skin, you can skip, you know, some of these steps. Just use what you think will work for you and skip over what you don't need. But for me, being oily, if I want my foundation to last all day, these are the steps that I have found work the best. So moving on to foundation, today I'm going to be using my Too Faced Born This Way matte foundation. I have mine in the shade Brulee, and I'm actually going to do a little mixture because I think this might be a little light for me. A couple of weeks ago, I went on 2 beach trips back to back. One was just with my husband, and then the other one was with his parents. Socially distanced trips, of course. But while I was out there, I, of course, got a little tan. So now that I'm back, I feel like none of my foundations really match. So I did 2 pumps of this. I did 1 pump of this, which I have talked about before. This is the LA Girl Pro Color Foundation Mixing Pigment. I have this blue one because this is a little too warm for me. So this is going to help just neutralize it a little bit. And then I also added a pump of the original Born This Way in the shade Butter Pecan. And this is what it looks like on my little mixing tray. So I'm just going to mix it all together. And hopefully this will give me a shade that matches me, because this summer complexion, honestly, is a struggle. And to be perfectly honest, like over the past couple of weeks, I haven't really been wearing makeup anyway. So I haven't been keeping up with what my shades are, to be honest. But yeah, so this is what it looks like once it's all mixed together. And I think, I don't know, y'all, we just gonna hope for the best. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. What do y'all think? And of course, obviously, I can always go back with bronzer, you know, and other things to kind of help balance it out. But I think we might have a pretty good match. So I'm just going to blend it out with my Morphe JH03 foundation brush. This is my Ride or Die foundation brush. So I'm just going to buff and blend everything out. Okay, so honestly, I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to pick up whatever's left on my little mixing tray and put it on my cheeks, because that's the area where I tend to have the most dark spots. Okay, so skin is looking pretty good, if you ask me. So next up is concealer, and for that, I'm actually gonna use, I pulled out these Makeup Forever concealers. I've used them a few times, but I haven't used them a ton, so I kind of wanted to play around with them a little bit more today. But I have a feeling, because I picked these shades back when, like before summer, so I have a feeling this shade 3.6 may be a little bit too light for me. So I also have the shade 5.1, which is basically my complexion shade. So I think I'm going to mix the 2 of them together. Ooh, I don't know. This is looking a little dark, actually. So I don't think I'm going to do that. But what I will do is I'll still go ahead and use this shade 3.6. Yeah. That is really, 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 really light. So I'm just going to add in some of my Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Sculpting Concealer in the shade Sand, just to kind of bring that, tone it down a little bit. And of course, to blend it all out, I'm going in with my DSMD sponge. If you have not picked up these sponges, I highly, highly recommend them. In my previous fall video, the one before, the makeup tutorial before this video, I actually talked a lot about these sponges. So if you want more information about them, definitely check out that video. But this is a Black-owned brand, and these sponges are bomb, period. So if you're looking for an affordable sponge, these run about $8, and she's always having sales. So I was able to pick mine up for $6 the last time that I purchased them. Highly recommend. These are so, so good. They get super big when you wet them, and they're just a bomb sponge. So definitely check those out. Of course, like I said, I'll have everything linked for you guys down below. Okay, so before I set that in place, I'm going to go back in with my foundation brush. I don't have any product on this brush, any additional product. And I'm just going to kind of go around the edges of everything just to kind of help with the blend a little bit, because this concealer is a little bit light, like I mentioned. So just trying to make sure everything, you know, looks as natural as possible. Okay, so next up I'm going to go ahead and set everything in place. I'm using another DSMD sponge. This one is not wet, but I found that this black one, because the texture is just a little bit different than this one, it works really well to set your face with powder when it's dry. And yeah, it just sets your face flawlessly, which you guys will see in a second. So to set my face, I'm actually going in with this little mixture that I have here. I basically just mixed the Too Faced Peach Perfect powder and both of their Born This Way ethereal powders to a shade that oh, don't spill it everywhere, but yeah, to a shade that I thought would work well for my complexion. So I'm going to go ahead and set all of the places that I apply concealer, and then I'll be right back. Alright y'all, I'm back. My camera died in the process, so I went ahead and filled in my brows off camera, as I usually do, because brows are boring and people usually don't care about them. So I just went ahead and did that off camera. Now I'm going to go ahead and dust off this extra powder that I've had sitting on my face, because we obviously don't need that anymore. And then I'm also going to go ahead and set the rest of my face, and I think I'm going to use this Makeup Forever powder. I have it in this little Z palette with some other powders, but this is the powder right here that I'm going to use. This is in the shade Y445, and I'm just using my Morphe E1 to set my entire face. Okay, so now that we have a little bit of color back in the face, I'm going to go ahead and finish up my lower lash line. I pulled out a couple of liners from Urban Decay. I have an orange one, a bronze one, and a burgundy one. And I'm kind of feeling like, I don't know, I'm debating between the burgundy in the waterline and the brown. Maybe even the orange. I don't know. I'm trying to decide which one I want to do. I think I'm going to do the burgundy one. So I'm just going to apply that in my waterline and then just apply the same shades that I use in the crease on my lower lash line. Okay, so I'm not really loving the burgundy. This is in the shade Alkaline. It's giving me more purple, which is not really the vibe. So I think I'm going to go in with maybe like a bronzy shade on top. Let's see. Maybe this one. So this one is in the shade Roach, also still another Urban Decay liner. And I'm literally just going to apply that right on top. And hopefully we can get the shade that we're going for. Actually, I just swatched them on my hand, and I'm going to use the shade Double Life instead. So it's more of like a coppery toned shade, and we're just going to put that right in the waterline. Yeah. Okay, so this is what the finished eyes are looking like. I did also go ahead and put on some lower lash mascara. I used my MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash, which I finally got another one of. I haven't had this mascara in forever, and it was definitely one of my faves for a really long time, and I still love it. It has a nice, super tiny little wand. It's perfect for really getting up in those lower lashes. So let's go ahead and finish off this face, because honestly, I'm ready to be done. Okay, so let's go ahead and bronze. Today I'm going to be trying out the Revolution Glow Splendor Ultra Matte Bronzer. I got mine in the shade Medium. I'm sure I'm a little late to the bandwagon on these, but I know that these were like the talk of all social media platforms for a hot minute when they first launched these, because they were actually like a brown skin friendly bronzer. So this is what medium looks like, and I'm pretty sure just from looking at this shade I'm gonna have to be light-handed with it because it looks a little bit dark. So I'm using my Morphe R14 and I'm literally just barely tapping in the product and also tapping off the excess, and we're just gonna go ahead and test this bronzer out on the skin. Yeah, it's definitely a good color, but I can tell if I had loaded up my brush, it would have been a lot. So just, if you have this bronzer or if you're thinking about getting this bronzer, definitely be light-handed, because like you can see right there, you see how that's just like straight pigment. It does blend out nicely though, so that is a plus. And this is the second to the lightest shade, you guys. So I almost feel like I should have gotten the lightest shade, which for a bronzer and being a brown skin girl, saying that I should have got the lightest shade is like, what? But yeah, I kind of wonder what the lighter shade would have looked like on me, because this one, it looks good, but I feel like it's just a little dark and also maybe a little too like red toned for my taste. So I also went ahead and pulled out my Fenty bronzer because with all the warmth that we have going on the eyes, I really want the face to also be warm. So my Fenty bronzer is in the shade Caramel Cutie, and I'm just gonna apply that right on top just to kind of warm it up just a little bit. Again, like I said, I do like the shade, but I feel like that shade will probably be better on me as like a contour shade and not necessarily a bronzer because it's just a little dark. Okay, so next up is blush, and I want to try out this shade that I mentioned in my recent Ulta haul, which hopefully will be up for you guys before this video. If not, it will be coming very soon. I've already filmed it. But this is in the shade Gingerly. It's a MAC blush, and it's actually a shade that I have had on my wish list for a hot minute. I forget who I saw mention this blush, but I have been wanting it ever since, and I finally just was like, you know what, just throw it in the bag. So just gonna pop that on the cheeks, and this is just like a perfect neutral, kind of muted rose toned shade. Really perfect for my complexion, honestly, for like an everyday blush, but also something that won't like take away from the eyes. It's not too much. So before I apply highlight, I'm going to set the face really quickly. You guys already know Urban Decay All Nighter is literally the only setting spray that I use on my face. And then for highlight, I pulled out 3 of these highlighters that I've had in my collection for a minute and haven't used. These are from CoverGirl. These are the CoverGirl True Blend Super Stunner highlights, and I have the shade Gilded Glory, which is a really pretty golden shade, Pearl Crush, which as the name suggests, a pearly champagne shade, and then Rose Quartz, which is a rose tone shade. I would normally reach for a shade like this, but since we have so much gold going on the face, you know, warm tones, I'm actually going to use the shade Gilded Glory, I think, which is like the gold toned highlight shade. So I'm just going to pick up my Anastasia A23 highlighter brush and go ahead and highlight the cheeks. Okay, so these are, look at that. So pretty and so pigmented. Like I barely had to tap my brush in there to get product. So I think I'm actually going to use this on my inner corner as well, because girl, I'm kind of shook right now. These are so pretty. Okay, so highlight is on, so that means all we have left is the lips. And I want to use this Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink, and this one is in the shade Caramel Collector. Maybelline actually sent over a cute PR package of all of their coffee toned matte inks for, I think, National Coffee Day. So I wanted to go ahead and use this one because, I don't know, I just feel like it goes with the vibes and the tones. I almost feel like it matches this color that we have in the crease, so it'll help to bring out that shade. So I'm going to line my lips first with MAC Cork Lip Pencil, and then I'm going to top it off with this Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink. Okay, so I feel like this look needs a gloss. I don't know why, but it's just giving me, like, if I feel like it needs a gloss. So I'm going to go in with the Fenty gloss. And this one is in the shade Hot Chocolate. Hopefully this won't be too chocolatey, but I just feel like it needs, yeah, just a little bit. Alright guys, so this is the finished look, and this is honestly giving me all the pumpkin spice vibes right now. If this look doesn't get you in the fall spirit, I honestly don't know what will. It came out exactly how I envisioned it in my mind. I really wanted those orange tones to shine through on the lids, and then I wanted the crease color to come through on the lips, and I feel like I did a pretty good job accomplishing what I saw in my mind for fall that I wanted on my face. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I, of course, will have all of the products that I used and mentioned in this video listed for you down below in the description box. So be sure to check that out if you have any questions about any of the products that I used throughout the video. And I think that is all that I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching today's tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. And if you are not a part of the Fayy fam, definitely consider subscribing. And I will see you guys very soon in my next video.